Digimon Frontier. We're finally here. We're finally at the end. It's finally over, except for that one movie. But other than that...
I was wondering if there was a movie. I kind of figured there was.
Yeah, there's, I believe, one movie for this series. I have no idea when it's supposed to take place, but I have to assume it's before this point.
Hmm. Oh yeah, because if they still have like their Digimon powers and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and after this point, they have Suzamon, so like that would really,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they could just get their powers back.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, the Digimon Tamers movie had, like, Gotemon Crimson mode, I think, and that continuity makes no sense at all. So, who knows, maybe they could just put it wherever. Yeah. Maybe we'll just do all the things. But yeah. So, just, like, all the kids just sort of, like, finally manage to get to the dark area, stuff goes down, and it's like, okay, bam, we finally got Suzamon, alright. It's time to, like, finally defeat the big bad and stop Lucimon once and for all. So this is the thing, I actually really like the way they handle this. Because it's like, alright, yeah, like, Suzamon isn't quite, like, a big solution that just immediately solves everything, but he is good enough.
Yeah, Suzamon is strong.
Yeah. I feel like in most, like, games and stuff, he's, like, stronger than this, but you know what? Screw it, it's fine.
I think his big sword attack is the craziest.
Oh yeah, big sword attack is nuts.
Yeah, less so because of the sword itself and more because of how, like, big the thing it's coming out of is.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I got an image of this. Yeah. There we go. And boy, it really is just a combination of, like, freaking Emperor Greymon and Magna Garumon's weapons, huh?
And no one else.
Literally no one. It's literally like his feet and shoulder pads in there. I do like the, yeah.
I don't know, it drives me crazy still that there's just no representation from any of the other kids. Especially, and it's especially crazy later when it's like, okay, it's Suzamon, but it's actually all the kids fused together.
Oh, yeah. They could have, like, given him a bit more stuff to, like, represent the rest of the group.
I'm surprised all the kids fusing together didn't unlock, like, a new form of Suzamon.
Nah, that'd be too much work. But yeah, one thing I do really like about this is that it's like, you see later on that it's like, of course we've established by now that, like, the sword is also just kind of a gun that fires the blade as, like, a big, like, blast, And it's like, yeah, the freaking, like, side things, the, like, cross guard, or, like, the triggers and grips of the gun, which is always really cool. And it's like, this is just that, but, like, the gun is now, like, an actual gun, and it just fires an even bigger sword. Like, yeah, I like that, yeah.
He pulled this thing out and I was like, look at this stupid Power Rangers weapon.
Yeah. Let's just combine all our goofy, like, toy weapons together to make a gun. And it's like, what? Fair enough. That sure is a gun. Oh, man. But yeah, something I really do like about this is that it's like, yeah, Suzamon finally finds Lucimon, right? It's like, okay, Lucimon just runs up and he's like, alright, well, you know what? I'm done messing around. I'll just end this right now the same way I always do. And he, like, runs up and does this Paradise Lost attack where he does the punch rush, right? And it's like, yeah.
And it looks a little better.
Yeah, it looks a little better, but it's also way harder to get, like, a screenshot of the punch rush, because, like, they're actually doing the thing where they have, like, multiple frames of him punching kind of, like, layered on top of each other. So it looks great in motion, and it looks terrible, but it still looks better than the other one.
Yeah.
It's just less coherent and like a still image, but yeah, that's fine. It looks good.
They saved their better animation for the final battle.
Yeah. Yeah, he does the thing, yeah, he, like, does the big kick. And he's gonna, like, jump up and do the wrestling move. And Suzamon just, like, punches him as he's trying to fly up to him.
He's just like, yeah, no, I'm not falling for that again.
Yeah, it's like, oh, right, yeah, they did learn.
Yeah. I would hope so, considering both of them got hit by it and both of them refused into this one guy. You would think they would be like, yeah, no, I know what he's about to do.
We know what he's about to do even more now because we've seen it twice already. We've experienced this multiple times. Yo, it's kind of the rule of threes, but to, like, the weirdest extent.
Yeah. And Lucimon just like, oh crap, well that didn't work. Fine, I'll use Dead or Alive again.
Yeah. As does the thing, and it's implied it's an actual threat now. Like, I think Lucimon has a line that's like, yo, oh yeah, I've improved since last time, yo. I'm not the same Lucimon you fought back then. It's like...
Isn't he's talking like, oh, all the hate and rage and anger and whatever, like I'll use to destroy you or whatever.
Yeah. It's like they actually have a clear solution around this because they just defuse to split themselves out of the area the like dark and light bubble is in from the attack, and then they like fuse back together after it's done. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
They haven't done, like, the fusion kind of deal before, so I'll buy that that's how it works.
Yeah. I kind of think that it's like, yo, if they just, like, de-digivolve, that their weird spirit forms would probably be screwed up by the attack, too, as they try to escape. But it's logical enough. It makes enough sense.
Yeah, the defusion just splits them in unfuses them and puts them like on the sides of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just fuse back together, and then they just use the gun and just slash Lucimon in half with their freaking gun.
They don't just slice Lucimon in half, they slice the entire dark area in half.
Right, yeah. Like, the entire dark area is getting ripped apart as they're, like, swinging this giant freaking thing. It's so cool. It's really dumb, but it's really cool, though.
Yeah, as dumb as this weapon is, that's a cool moment.
Yeah, I definitely remember this as a kid. Them, like, yo, swinging the big sword gun and, like, slashing Lucimon. But for some reason, I thought they were, like, slashing the dragon mode. No, my kid memories of this are not the best. They're not the most coherent. But I definitely do remember seeing this episode.
So yeah, they slice Lucimon in half and they win. They purify his soul.
Yeah, who would have guessed we'd be done episode 49
of 50.
Yeah, now I guess we just have an entire episode to just wrap things up and say goodbye to everyone. And, you know, I'm sure we'll have a lot of, like, kind words to say and, you know, a lot of very coherent, like, just super fitting endings going to each of these characters as they say their emotional goodbyes.
Okay, but actually, no. So for some reason, they scan the light part of Lucimon and leave the dark part? I don't understand why they would do that.
For reasons that I don't quite get, I guess because Lucimon's just complete, like, yo, he's like so much light and dark data combined that, like, when he dies, instead of being a single ball of data, he splits into, like, two halves. And, like, they scan one, and the other half just sort of, like, yo, just exists and absorbs the dark area despite being a data ball and just forms into, like, a new evolution.
So,
it's
what
very weird. It's very like, just
what I don't get is the dark digi egg is sitting right there next to the light one, and it's got like data coming out of it.
Yeah, they're not like, yeah, we should get this one.
Yeah, and they're not like, oh, we should scan this and purify it too. They leave it and it gains power and turns into Lucimon Satan mode.
Really, what they should have done is they should have had, like, Suzamon take out 2 separate Digivices and scan both things. Doesn't he? I forget.
Or maybe that was a previous episode.
I don't know. I feel like I do remember him having 2 Digivices, but yeah, I definitely know he takes out one of them, at least. But yeah, I should have taken out, like, both Digivices and scanned both data balls simultaneously.
Yeah. But, nah.
Nah, if we had that, we wouldn't have a final boss.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just sort of evolves and just turns into Lucimon's final form, which is a big orb dragon that's known as Lucimon freaking Satan mode. And yeah.
Frieza's voice actor had a good run.
He had a really good run. He was a fun villain, he had a lot of, like, fun lines. Had a lot of good moments. I feel like Lucimon Fall Down mode had, like, exactly as much as he needed to get for, like, that fight to feel, like, effective for what it was. Because if he didn't have at least one battle curve stomping the heroes beforehand, he'd be kind of a letdown as, like, a final boss.
Yeah. But also, so is the implication that the Lucimon that was defeated back in the day was Fall Down mode or just like rookie Lucimon?
It's really hard to say. It seems like the implication is that it was rookie Lucimon, right? Because he's like the form that was like, on the big like cave wall or whatever, like on the big rock wall. It's like, it's not Fall Down mode, it's rookie Lucimon. So I think yeah.
I don't know. I guess that makes sense if the Warriors, because like there was nothing about Susanoo anywhere, so it makes sense if they just beat him as is.
Yeah, they probably like Lucimon was probably like a problem because even rookie Lucimon's like really strong, and they just sort of had to like get 10 Megalol Digimon together just to like stand a chance. And it was probably a bit overkill anyways, but screw it, it's thematic, and that's probably the version they beat. And, afterwards, because he was in the dark area for so long, maybe that's where he absorbed all the, like, dark data that lets him become Fall Down mode when he gets enough power. Like, maybe that's, like, the implication here. Because, absorbing more dark data turns him into an even darker, eviler form, right? Like, absorbing more of the dark area.
The combination of that and the entirety of the digital world.
Yeah. Man, don't let, like... Just when you really think about it, we're fighting a being comprised of the entirety of a planet as its power. We're fighting a planet. This thing is nuts. Like, honestly, for Lucimon, that's very appropriate, I think. But yeah, they just like, they see Lucimon just Satan mode, and they're like, oh, well, crap. And it just starts flying to the human world for seemingly no reason, and they're like, oh, okay, this is a new and bigger problem. I guess it just remembers it has to go there. But yeah, we have this big, like, scene where they're all, like, they all evolve into their, like, spirit forms to try and chase after him. And you see in the human world, as he appears, there's just, like, computer screens and, like, monitors and all kinds of, like, phones and stuff. Just form text that says something like, obey me or die.
Obey or die, the choice is yours, or something like that. It's your
Obey
choice.
or die, it's your choice.
Yeah.
Which is, honestly, I like that. That's really ominous.
The message itself is fine. I like what they do for the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Where it ends on a cliffhanger where Lucimon breaks through into the real world and he causes the distortions and the weird text stuff and whatnot. And then like the cliffhanger is it cuts to like, oh no, the kids are chasing him and he fires like purgatory flame or whatever the attack was called. They get hit by it and it cuts to black and it just says obey or die, the choice is yours.
Yeah, it's such a good, like,
and it's just like it's like it's not on a billboard or anything. It's just like it's a message to the viewer. It feels like, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm going to joke about these episodes a lot. These actually were pretty good episodes.
These are, like, despite the downturn in quality for Frontiers in a lot of places, these last couple of episodes are pretty good.
Yeah, if you just took some of the Royal Knight episodes and just, like, made them other episodes earlier on in the series, this would be, like, a really good run, I think. Like, you just, like, instead of having the episode with, I don't know, like, the Beanstalk Village or whatever, if that's, like, a Cherubimon backstory episode, then, like, this would legitimately be, like, a pretty solid series. Like, even cutting those episodes down by, like, 1 or 2 would make a huge difference. Because, like, yeah, I feel like that really is just the biggest flaw I have with the series overall. Because, like, I can put continuity of, like, forms being stronger than they should just aside for a moment. But it's like, just holy crap. If you don't know anything, that pacing is, like, terrible. That section of episodes is so rough to get through. So yeah, we gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's time. It's time for the final episode, and yeah, it turns out everyone's spirits are just sentient now.
They always were.
I feel like we did see a lot of that.
We didn't see a lot of it, but that's always been the case.
Yeah. It's like, it's weird because it's like, it's implied this is a thing all along. But I think, like, the first time we really got real glimpses of this was, like, like, just a few episodes when Lucimon finally appears. And it's like, Taki is like, oh yeah, are we, like, do you think we can do it? Do you think we have, like, a shot? And, like, Agreemon Oz Digivice just sort of, like, nods to him or something.
Well, it's actually, yeah, that did happen before. I have a problem with this episode, and it's that Takuya just kind of regresses all character progression and just, like, loses all determination and hope that they can win.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, Lucimon's invincible, and he's like, yeah, he is invincible. We can't beat him, and then he has a whole meltdown, and it's like, okay, when have impossible odds stopped you in the past?
Yeah, that's like, it's like a whole thing where it's like, okay, like, Taki has always been the really confident, like, hard-head one that just, like, acts first and thinks later, because of course, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is supposed to feel like character development, because it's like, oh, well, now he's really being challenged, and he has to, like, find his resolve again. But feels like this is played, like, too quickly. Like, there's not a lot of time for it to really, like, build up, right?
Takuya gives up instantly.
Yeah, it's... I guess when you think about it, it's like built up a little bit, because on the moon he was also like, no, can we actually do it this time? These Royal Knights are really strong, you think we can actually beat them? But it's like, yeah, this is like, I feel like this needed a bit more work. But honestly, for what it is, I think it works well enough.
Yeah. And then like he's like talking to he's like oh no, we can't beat it. I can't even push this really heavy thing.
Yeah, that's such a weird, because he's like trying to push this fallen elevator. I should mention, they just wind up in the terminal to the digital world. It's just destroyed now.
Yeah, because Lucimon crashed through it and wrecked the place.
Yeah, he's trying to move like a random like elevator like section. Like, they're out there seeing anything under there. I think he's just like, oh man, I can't even move this thing. You know what they should have done? They should have put, like, one of the art characters under there, and it's like, oh no, we have to save Tomoki before the elevator crushes him, and he's like, oh, I can't even save my friend, and, like, that's when the moment happens where all the spirits help him out, and they're like, no, you have the power within you, we're helping you all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there needed to be a bit more to that, but yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I can't even push this big heavy object, and then like the Goonimon is like, no, but push it, and then he does, and he's like, see, I've been with you the whole time.
It was me, a Goonimon. I was the one doing the things for you.
Which is not inaccurate.
Man, it's like... I like this finale. This is a really forced darkest moment, This is a really forced, like, lowest point, it feels like.
It really is. This comes out of nowhere.
But yeah, I feel like they emotionally, like, I get that they needed something here. They just didn't know what to do, and this just sort of like, they're like, oh yeah, let's just, and it's like, fair enough, at least you got something. But yeah, so they go off after Lucimon, who's his big crazy dragon form, and they're like trying all their attacks against him, and every time they shoot him, he just sort of like regenerates.
That was a previous episode, but yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because they were chasing him.
So it's, crap, I should have like rewatched this one more, because it's like been a bit.
It's fresher in my mind because I just watched it and I still forget a lot of details. Because I had to watch 2 episodes of Ghost Game also.
Yeah, so they're like, they're chasing after Lucimon, and they're like, okay, we need to like stop him, we need to find a way to defeat this guy, but he's too strong. He regenerates after every attack they do, like, immediately. It's kind of crazy they're even doing damage to him, but yeah, they kind of like managed to hit some stuff out. And it's like, okay, so how do we fix this?
So I mentioned a point where all the kids actually fuse together to make Susanoo-mon, and that's when this is when that happens.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole unique animation for it and everything, and the music plays.
Yeah, everyone like, gets in the spirit form and they're like holding hands in a circle, but not facing each other, because that'd be a bit weird.
A little bit. But yeah, and then they go to chase Lucimon to the real world.
Yeah, I honestly do kind of like what they do with this, because they like, they're in the forms and they like stop and they actually think, and they're like, okay, wait, didn't someone say Lucimon has, like, no consciousness? But he's clearly, like, making decision and trying to attack us, right? So there must be something that's thinking for him. And they, like, bounce ideas off of each other. And they're like, okay, so yeah, he has to have some type of, like, core somewhere that's, like, controlling this thing. We have to, find that and beat it. And someone's like, oh, wait a minute, didn't you hear, a voice earlier? What if that was?
Yeah, it was Lucimon calling out, Lucimon's core, I guess, calling out the attack. It's like, oh yeah, it's in the orb he's carrying, of course.
Yeah, of course. Which, still hard to get there, but yeah, that is a weak point. And, yeah, I kind of forgot about this weird effing thing. I feel like I've seen this episode before, or maybe I hadn't, I don't know. I forget if it was in the first one or not. I know I definitely saw this weird larva thing before, though. This definitely, rings a bell.
Yeah.
Also, don't think about what the front of that head is shaped like. It's not worth it.
So I don't... Maybe it's just a concept that appears... maybe it's just a concept that's more prominent to Japan or something. But he's very similar to Yami, the final boss of Okami.
Oh yeah, that's not, surprising at all, I feel like.
Yeah, because Yami is also a big, scary, evil ball that, transforms and does all these crazy things. But at the center of it is this tiny little, pathetic creature.
Yeah.
That looks very similar in design.
Just Japanese mythology and, all of Japanese fiction just loves their big, evil death balls with, tiny cores inside.
Yeah.
Just, this is every Kirby boss, let's be real.
True.
But yeah, they I forget exactly how, but they somehow managed to get him back to the digital world.
Oh god, how did they grab him, I think they literally just grab him and pull him back.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they literally just grab him and pull him back by the tail.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And they just have the whole thing where they have to, fight freaking Lucimon Sand Mode in the digital world to, finally defeat him. I think they do a big thunder attack to shoot him, and then they manage to break through and get into the orb, right?
Yeah, which is crazy because I could have swore I read something that said the orb itself is invincible or impenetrable.
Yes.
But they have to win somehow.
Yeah, the orb just straight up is, meant to be impenetrable, but, to what extent is a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently Chrome Digizoid is unbreakable. Supposedly.
Supposedly.
And, the mere existence of Digimon will destroy everything. There's a lot of over-exaggerations in Digimon lore.
To be fair, Digimon was destroying everything, just not super quickly.
Yeah, that one was actually fairly accurate, seemingly.
Yeah. Man, Didra has such good lore to some of this stuff. But yeah,
they burst into the orb and they the little larva actually does have its own attacks.
Yeah, surprisingly, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, and it's launching attacks trying to stop them from getting to him, but they manage to get to him and defeat him.
The larva does say something like, have they finally reached my level? Implying that the larva is also huh?
He's just like, have they reached my level? No, that's impossible, or something like that.
Yeah, which implies that the larva is also ultra level. Although I'm not sure how literally this is meant to be taken.
It's Lucimon, the little tiny core, is the actual Digimon. The dragon is it's just a body, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, it would be ultra. Yeah, alright, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the fact that the card game hasn't actually, given us dragon mode yet is wild. Like, it's taken so... Like, we've got, like, so many X-Antibody cards out of the way before we even attempted to do this. Crap's just go... Like, it got to Justmon GX before it got to this thing. That's not even, crazy. Like, X-Antibody. That's, like, beyond. Jeez. But yeah. So yeah, everyone just sort of works together. They, like, finally, like, managed to defeat the core. And then it's like, oh, it was actually defeated. They actually just, like, ripped it out and didn't, like, finish off yet. And the core's like, no, I can't lose. And they have, like, a really, honestly, genuinely cool final attack against it. Where,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, Suzamon, like, essentially he, like, you know...
He ejects the kids.
He ejects the kids and takes an attack for them and just acts on his own, and they're like, oh, jeez, he can move?
Yeah, and, he goes after the Lucimon larva, and he attacks it, and he splits into, like, each individual legendary warrior, and they all get a shot at him.
Yeah, the effing, like, gun is summoned again, and you see it, like, it disassembles into the, like, Emperor Greymon's sword, and every single one of the 10 spirits individually, like, wields the sword and gets to slash him.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, also, that was my thought, is like, okay, that's a really cool, like, finisher to the big bad.
Oh, man. Also, yeah, just straight up, this weird larva thing is way huger than I expected it to be.
Oh, surprisingly so.
Yeah, it is, like, scarily gigantic. Thing is, like, freaky.
It's like as big as Susanomon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. You see this thing, and it's like, okay, you know, it's gonna be small, it's gonna be like, no, like 3 feet maybe, you know, it's gonna be like, you know, tiny, and it's like, no, it's like up there.
You look at it, it's like, what the heck?
Yeah. Honestly makes sense, because it's like being carried by such a massive Digimon, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, so yeah. Because of that, the digital world starts reforming, but, the kids have to go back because reasons. So, alright, wrap-up time, I guess.
If they don't, they will be stuck there forever. Except for the fact that Ophanimon opened up the way to let them come there in the first place, seemingly.
It's fine, don't worry about it. And, like, that's when we get the most, like, pressing realization in the show. Freaking Kazumon can speak French now.
Italian.
Because they're like, you know, saying things, and Kazumon Pheromon says, like, you know, one of Izumi's, like, French words, but I don't think she says, like, Italian, damn it. I don't think she says, like, calzone, though. I think she says, like, something else, doesn't she?
She says, like, contento or something.
Yeah. And Izumi's like, wait, what the heck? And, you know, Pheromon's like, don't worry, I've, like, picked some up from you.
I think that's the dub line, actually, because Junpei in the sub is like, oh, it's because she spent time with you.
Yeah.
Because I remember that line, for some reason.
It's such a weird little detail. It's like, Izumi being the Italian character is like, she is purely defined by being the Italian and also the girl. So it's like, we get a big wrap up. I need to talk about this right now. Is that everyone's their whole, like, you know, thing of like, oh yeah, yo, I finally became friends with my brother, and like, yo, I finally, like, warmed up to my parents or whatever, and they have this whole thing going through the entire cast, and Izumi is like, oh yeah, I finally learned to make spaghetti for my friends, and now I am good at socializing. And it's like, oh wow, her entire character arc is like just defined by and like, yo, her big endpoint is like learning to cook spaghetti.
I mean, that's what it shows in the flashback. She doesn't mention anything about cooking spaghetti. It's also weird because Izumi's issue wasn't that she was bad around people, it's that people were racist.
Listen, if people are just racist, just, you know, just make them spaghetti. Just play into the stereotype. It'll work. Also, I'm just now realizing she's just giving them just like straight up, just unseasoned like noodles. Like there's no toppings. It's just raw spaghetti.
Spaghetti with no sauce.
Yeah, there's like no sauce. There's no like Parmesan or anything. It's just like just raw noodles, which I guess it's Japan, so like fair enough. But yeah, that's kind of goofy actually. Listen, man. I mean,
isn't the picture we get of her like cooking it? So like, of course, there's nothing on it yet. Or is there a shot where?
Yeah, you can see their plates. There is nothing on the spaghetti.
Oh, okay.
Listen, if someone just handed me just a plate of just like raw spaghetti with no toppings, I'd be like, thank you, but I'd also be confused, you know? It's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
You eat it, silly.
Oh man,
Gee, thanks.
I just want to imagine there's like some like Italian guy out there at some point who like runs a restaurant or whatever, and they're just disgusted by our horrible spaghetti takes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what authentic spaghetti is like.
Yeah, and I have to imagine authentic spaghetti is meant to be served with, like, something, you know? Because it's like, yeah. Like, bring some, like, sauce or bring some tomato sauce, you know? At least give them ketchup.
Ugh. I would rather have nothing.
I would have something.
I would rather have nothing than eat spaghetti noodles with ketchup. That is vile.
Listen, it might be disgusting, but it's all tomatoes, you know? Like, at least it's at least it's close.
No.
No? Alright.
No, it tastes nothing like spaghetti sauce.
Man, I don't even like normal ketchup. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, we get to the real big finale of this, which is that they re-arrive in the human world seemingly before they left.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like time moves slowly. It seems like time went backwards, is the implication.
Yeah, it's like right after they left, like, and the trains returned, like, immediately so. So it's like they run off and they're like, oh geez, where's Koji? We have to save him.
Koichi,
yeah. And it's
Takuya knows where he fell because Takuya saw it. Or no, he didn't. But he knew where Koichi was headed. That's what it is.
Yeah, he saw where he's heading in, like, you know, his Flamemon form. So he knew that he was here. And he's like, wait, no, we have to, like, find him. And they find him, and it's like, we were speculating on whether or not he was dead. This leaves things extremely ambiguous.
The answer is yes.
Yes, maybe, kind of.
The answer is yes, because if they got transported back in time and they show up at the hospital and the doctors are like, there is zero heart activity, Koichi's dead.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at this, and it's like, alright, his pulse is 0, and they're trying to resuscitate him, but it's still possible they could have, like, you know, resuscitated him in, like, a comatose state of some kind, I think. I'm not, like, really a medical expert.
I'm pretty sure that the implication is that, no, Koichi, before the time reset, Koichi died.
Yeah, that seems to be the direct implication.
Straight up.
like they mentioned he's like flatlying. He has no pulse, but they're like trying. And it's like
well,
maybe
what we know
they
of his situation.
Yeah.
No, there was no bringing him back to life because what we know of his situation in the digital world is that's where his soul was.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is like, it's not as much of a hard confirmation as I was like kind of expecting, but it's like, it's basically that.
It seems pretty definitive to me.
Yeah. Man, this is weird because it's like the entire time I feel like you were just like, oh yeah, yo, well, he's like, I think it was like unconscious, right? And I'm like, no, he dead.
I mean, I didn't remember.
Now we've kind of like flipped a bit. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe he was in a coma. This isn't, and you're like, nah, he gone.
I don't remember, but I'm going off of what the episode showed directly. Koichi died.
Oh yeah, I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like being resuscitated, and it's not working. As everyone's like freak out. They storm into the hospital room, which you're probably not supposed to do that. There are like germs and stuff not. You bring in.
Definitely not. I'm surprised they let them in there like that, but
yeah, I think they just like ran in there without anyone like they just like rushed past people. They're like body checking dudes on the way in. Listen, there's like so many of them. You can't stop all of them.
Yeah. And through a literal miracle, their digivices and like emit like a glow or whatever, and like Koji like cries, and it's like a magical tear thing.
Yeah, it's really, really cheesy, but at the same time, this show is like established that the digivices just do literal miracles. Yeah, they literally describe it as like, oh yeah, sometimes, when everyone's hopes are one or whatever, like a miracle will just happen. So it's like, alright, there actually is precedent for this. This is like probably as much precedent as you could actually give this type of moment without it feeling like, a hard, fact of the universe, right?
Yeah, it didn't really bother me because the digivices have always just done whatever they needed to.
Yeah, it's really cheesy. I don't hate, but it's like, I do appreciate those, like, stuff about as well as it could be.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Koichi gets to have his happy ending, and now I get to eat my words because thematically they actually did find a way to save the day while sacrificing literally nothing.
It's Digimon, of course they did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. It would have just been really funny if they had the whole thing of like, oh, you can't win without sacrifice, and they somehow managed to win by sacrificing one person. Like, that would have been thematically really funny to me.
Nah, because it's... I mean, yeah. Would have been funny to you, yeah. It wasn't gonna happen because it's like, yeah, Digimon power friendship. Like,
yeah, no, we saved the day, yeah.
Miracles and such.
And everyone gets to do their thing. Izumi learns how to cook Italian food and becomes Italian girl. Freaking Tomoki becomes friends with his brother, I think. Yeah, because his brother was like, seemed mean to him and the whole thing where he like warmed up. Junpei becomes less of a dick.
Yeah.
He's like actually just doing his magic tricks and stuff. And he's like, what? Yeah, this is fine. Like, yeah, I'm fine doing this.
And the little like image that it shows of him, it's like, oh yeah, he was teaching some other kid to do magic too.
Oh yeah, actually kind of missed that. Yeah, he's like sharing his talents and stuff, just like like hoarding them for attention. It's like Taki goes back home and I don't know, celebrates a birthday party or whatever. He's like there for his family. Man,
there for his little brother whose birthday he ran out on him in the beginning.
Yeah, he got that birthday party without sacrificing anything.
Yep, it's time travel.
Yeah, and
At
like,
least, at least they did time travel, but they did it in such a way that it doesn't make anything confusing.
yeah, this is probably the best way they could have done. It's like, we literally just erased the damage that Lucimon caused, and there are no other issues at all.
Yeah, so nobody has to be like, oh, what was with that like crazy dragon that appeared in Japan that one time?
Yeah, all that time of us like seeing the screens of the real world where their parents are alone and stuff didn't happen. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that nobody ever left. Like Takuya ran out of the house and then he came back like an hour later.
And the main character of Koji finally managed to meet his brother, and they saw each other's parents, and they're just good friends with it all. They work their stuff out.
Yeah, he never addressed the fact that his father was like lying to him.
Man, can we just like, because I know I've talked about this before, man, Koji is such the main character in this series.
Oh yeah.
Like, the big final emotional moment is literally Koji, like, saving his brother through his, like, tears of, like, compassion, which, like, completes his arc, because he's just such a stoic jerk at first, and he learned to care about people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, everyone has a nice little, like, thing that's just wrapped up really neatly. Yeah, like, solid ending. I actually like it. Although Zumi kind of got shafted.
Yeah, when didn't she though?
Oh yeah, this entire series is just like, everyone has a really nice, solid, well put together character arc, and Zumi is just the Italian girl.
Yeah. Yeah, for all its weaknesses, yeah, the ending is pretty good.
Yeah. So is there anything else we really want to say about Ghost Game? Or sorry, about Frontier. Man, Frontier. My mind is like a mess right now.
I don't have anything else to say about it. But other than what I just said, it's kind of weak. The ending is good.
Yeah. Kind of weak at points, but honestly, at the end of it, I liked it a lot. I enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah. It's still no Tamers, and it's never gonna be, but
yeah, absolutely not. This is like, it's not quite, alright, let me put it this way, Tamers is like S-tier Digimon, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always at its best, but it's definitely, like, the best it's been so far. Tamers is, like, so up there, it's hard for other shows to really compete. This is, like, A-tier Digimon. This is, like, above the curve, but it's also, like, not at the peak. I feel like that's a good way to put it.
A minus.
B minus? Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I said A.
Oh, A minus? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him more credit.
Yeah, no, that's fair, yeah.
The fun parts are fun.
Yeah, A minus because of the Roll Knight stuff. That really does, like, bring it down a lot. If, like, they took out the Roll Knight stuff and, like, did that way better, it could have been, like, an A plus, I think. And, like, you've got Ghost Game, which, Ghost Game's probably, like, a C plus, maybe, like, a B or something, I don't know. It's not like if O2's like a D or an F, like Ghost Game's above that, but it's not quite, like Adventure.
I wouldn't even call Zero 2 like a D. Like that one, like
yeah.
02 is good in a lot of spots. Better than I remembered.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give 02 like a C. Yeah, and I'll give like Try an F. I feel like Digimon Try kind of deserves an F.
It's so crazy because as people were talking about Try, and I was like, oh man, people fondly remember Try. And then somebody responded with something like, people didn't like Try. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. We hate try in this house. Hey, sup, Flo? Listen, Digimon try, more like Digimon try too hard to be edgy. There we go. There's our bad joke of the episode. Okay, alright, we ready to move on then?
Yep.